Hey everybody, welcome to Super Arcade Theatre. I'm Jay as always, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're not going to be talking about games, playing games, doing anything to do with games. We're going to be talking about movies. I love movies, and I never shut up about them once I've seen them, so I figured I may as well turn on a mic and yell about them to you instead of everyone around me. So without much further ado, here is my non-spoilery type review type thought things on Captain America Civil War. I'm going to be making sure to keep as vague as possible, so you're not going to have to worry about plot points and all of that type of stuff. First, a little bit of background in case you've been staring at a wall with your fingers in your ears, just saying la 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 for the last few years. Civil War is the next film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the third in the Captain America series of films. After the Avengers beat the ever-living shit out of a sassy cyborg in Age of Ultron and left a city in ruins, as well as a few other incidents from the other films like Winter Soldier with the giant flying death ships and all of that, the government have decided that the Avengers need to be reined in a little bit and kind of governed. Probably not the worst idea in the world, considering they kind of seem to be at the heart of a lot of the problems that have come up. After the incident in Sokovia, Tony Stark's feeling pretty guilt-ridden, so he decides that it's a good idea, that he's backing it. Captain America, on the other hand, doesn't like the idea of potentially being told not to help in a situation where he knows he'd be able to, and he's not very trusting of the world government and that type of stuff after all that nasty SHIELD Hydra business that went on. To top off all of that, Captain America's old war buddy turned psycho killer, the Winter Soldier, re-emerges, and it leads to some serious clashing of ideals. And fists. Mostly clashing of fists. Okay, let's start off with some of the things I really enjoyed in this movie. First off the bat, despite the fact that this film has a massive cast, it's still very much a Captain America movie through and through. Even though the tensions are high with the Accords bill, most of the story and the tension in the conflict comes from Captain America's relationship with Bucky and how he's trying to defend him. There are a few twists along the way, but at its core, it's a character-driven story, which is a nice change after, Ultron with the big world-ending events and all of that type of stuff. We've known these characters for a long time now. We've seen them evolve over, many films. I think Iron Man's been in 7 films now, but seeing these characters clash over their ideals and really kind of go at it at each other, it makes the stakes feel way higher, and the fallout afterwards, which I won't get into, really hits a lot harder. Speaking of the characters, everyone at this point has really settled into their roles and they've really made them their own. Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. once again are basically the living embodiment of the comic book counterparts, and we get to see other characters like the Vision and Scarlet Witch finally get the attention that they really missed out of in Age of Ultron. To top it all off, there's even some new faces thrown in. The ever intense and always awesome Black Panther literally dominates anything and everything that has the brass balls to stand up to him. My favourite new character though is the new Spider-Man played by Tom Holland, who totally just steals the show. I'm an absolute nerd when it comes to Spider-Man. I love the take on him here. Just the amount of nervous babbling this dude just comes out with is superb, and it really just captures the character perfectly. Again, this is really the film's strength, and the Marvel Universe's strength as a whole. They really managed to find a balance in the cast, and they really give you a good idea of where each character falls on the terms on the side of the Accords. And honestly, they make a pretty damn good case for either side. Going into this movie, I was on Captain America's side, more because I enjoyed the character more than Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. But when the case was made, and throughout the film, I wavered back and forth, and kind of ended up in the middle at the end. I just wanted to see them stop fighting at some point, just because I cared about these characters so much, and there was some real rage in some of these fights. Speaking of fighting, holy shit. There is a scene in an airport, which you've probably seen in some of the trailers. Not all of it, you've seen nothing yet, trust me. It is far and away the greatest action scene to ever be featured in a comic book movie. It is completely freaking nuts. If anyone over at Marvel is listening to this right now, which I doubt, but never know. If you want to just release a 2-hour version of that fight, just on repeat, then I'll be first in line to just take more of my money. I'm fine with that. That's not to say that's the only incredible action scene in the film. We get one in particular near the end, which I won't spoil, as I say, but it was amazing for different reasons than the one in the airport, I'll say. I won't go into too many details, but the reason the fight happens is made pretty clear, and it is probably the most emotional brawl I've seen in a comic book movie to date. All that said, the film is not without flaws. I mean, no film is, but the most notable of its flaws is probably its main villain, if you want to call him that, Zemo. I guess considering it's called Civil War, they didn't really need to have the villain in there. I honestly kind of liked him, really, that his plan was simple, really, and he had, it was a simple villain with simple goals, and he was played well, but his plan itself, it relied on one too many coincidences for my liking, personally. One other thing, and maybe this is just me, but there were one or two tiny niggles I had with the CG. It wasn't distracting, but in one scene I noticed it maybe a bit more than I should have. I'm really struggling to find flaws here, okay? Guys, overall this film was an awesome time. It went way darker than any other Marvel film I've seen before it, but it somehow managed to keep the joy that you're supposed to feel while watching a film about comic book characters. It was fun, it was tense, it was funny, and it was serious in all the right moments. And most of all, it continues the trend of Marvel understanding its characters and putting them perfectly into film. Also, did I mention how freaking awesome Spider-Man is? Jeez, why the hell isn't Homecoming here already? Overall, I give Captain America Civil War 5 patriotic bald eagles out of 5. So, have you seen the film yet? And what did you think about it? Whose side were you on? Did you change throughout the film like I did? Let us know in the comments below, and stay tuned to Super Arcade Theatre for more movies and games coming very soon.